everyone, we're Tim and Shannon. And this is Hornblower, our beloved Baba 40 that we've spent the last 7 years renovating and is now our home as we sail around the Caribbean. The morning of our departure from Wardwick Wells, we awake to stormy skies and gusty winds. The run to Staniel Key is about 20 miles, but these aren't the best conditions to negotiate the passage. Our onboard weather radar is showing significant weather events out to 36 miles moving right over the top of us. So we make the decision to sit tight while the storms pass. Sensing an opportunity to depart, we scurry to pull the anchor and make way before missing the high tide. Our delayed start forces us to rethink our plan, and we decide to overnight at Bell's Key and continue on to Staniel Key the following day. The plan change affords us the opportunity to visit Rocky Dundas. Rocky Dundas is an ancient hidden cave that can only be accessed by swimming under a ledge that's partially submerged. Once inside, there's a large open cavern with prominent stalactites and stalagmites. We arrive later in the day and the incoming current is ripping pretty hard. I'm a bit claustrophobic and my anxiety is pretty high, but I'm determined to overcome my fears. Since Tim had already hopped in to check the current, letting us know that it was swift but manageable, and headed on into the cave, Rob, Cindy, and I followed him in. Inside the cavern is fairly shallow in most places. Uniquely, the entire bottom is lined with a purple coralline algae, and it proceeds upward on the wall to the high water tide mark. The ceiling of the cave has an opening to the sky above, and the sides of the cave are adorned with stalagmites and stalactites. A handful of fish are making the cave their home, and they watch us intently for the short time we invade their space. As it turned out, swimming into the cave and maneuvering around wasn't a big deal. I'm so glad I powered through my fears and didn't miss out on the beauty of the cave. If you're planning on a visit here in the future and have the same anxiety, I urge you to give it a try. As we left the cave, we saw more storms blowing in, so we headed back to our boats and called it a night. We plan a departure for Staniel Key for the following morning, but soon after waking up, we find ourselves facing some more inclement weather. But radar was showing at some distance, so we head out and have a few uneventful hours. As we near Staniel Key, a squall blows in, and we end up having to drop anchor and wait out the storm. Though the storm clears, the last few passages into Staniel Key are narrow and shallower in places, with rocks and coral to dodge as we go in. Needless to say, it was a bit of a rough passage, and we decide to pick up a mooring vault and look forward to a good night's sleep on a safe mooring. Morning comes too quickly. Not fully rested, we load the dinghy and prepare to head to shore to complete some chores. Since we've been island hopping to islands without facilities for over a week, we need gas, groceries, and a trip to the laundromat. I tackle the laundry while Tim heads to the fuel dock, taking in the island's beauty as we walk. As I pass the sign for the laundromat, I see that it is also a liquor store and is aptly named the Liquor Mat. Several hours later, with our chores done, we decide to have a late lunch at the marina. A cross between cheeky upscale yacht club and beach bar vibe, we love this restaurant. Kind of a party in the front, business in the back. Day 2 holds a snorkel trip to Thunderball Grotto of James Bond fame, and then a dinghy ride a few miles over to the original swimming pig beach. I'm again quite anxious about the grotto, not knowing what to expect and worried about the opening. We waited till mid-morning before heading over to the grotto. Entering the cave at low tide was easiest. Apparently, everyone else felt the same, and by the time we got there, the entrance was congested with day boats and their guests. As with Rocky Dundas, going in wasn't a big deal, and once inside, it's quite gorgeous. The sun's rays cascaded through the openings in the ceiling, penetrating the cavernous grotto, and shimmered in the water below. The water depth in the center of the grotto was 12 to 15 feet, with natural ledges on the perimeter for you to park yourself on if you desired. Smaller caves and penetrations radiated out from the main cavern, presenting unlimited opportunities for those willing to explore. One of these small offshoot crevices opened to the opposite side and onto a beautiful coral reef. As we explored this reef, we stumbled upon two large nurse sharks sleeping in the shadows. We made our way around the entire exterior of the little island, exploring the nooks and crannies, and then back into the main entrance of the grotto. By now, most of the day charters had moved on, and we were able to enjoy the grotto amongst ourselves before heading over to Pig Beach. The dinghy ride over to Pig Beach was a few miles, and just as the name implies, we were cordially greeted by pigs. As we motored toward the beach, the advance guard engaged all four of their short little feet at warp speed, propelling their disproportionate mass at an increasingly slower pace. Ears bouncing side to side, flat noses out from skimming the surface of the water like submarine periscopes, and an occasional curly tail breaking the surface, directing their course. They made a few circles around the dinghy in search of food before heading back to the shallows and squatting on their hindquarters like Scooby-Doo waiting for a Scooby snack. Seeing pigs swim is just the craziest thing. After leaving Pig Beach, we do some snorkeling and a little more exploring, and as the sun sets, decide it's time to get down to business. Staniel Key would be the end of the line for our buddy boat Elroy. Previous engagements would necessitate that they make their way back to Florida while we continued further south down the island chain. Countless games of splendor, and Tim had yet to win one. He was sure tonight would be the night and was on a mission. One of the worst parts of living this dream is saying goodbye to new friends. Faced with like adversities, the bonds are quick and real. Seldom told or shown, it's often a struggle to overcome and move the dream forward. Broken boats, undesirable weather, availability of parts, slow or no internet, supplies, fuel, and fresh water can be challenging or non-existent at times. Everything takes more effort. Few understand it like those out here pursuing the dream with you. In less than a month, we have shared some of the highest highs and lowest lows of a part of the earth most will never have the opportunity to experience, and we are grateful. Not a farewell, but until we cross paths again. Rob and Cindy, always remember. Sadly, the next morning, we dropped the mooring ball, take the center of the channel, and wave to Elroy on the T-head. A favorite destination to date. We thoroughly enjoyed Staniel Key. We would have liked to stay a few more days, but we had a commitment to pick up a guest in Georgetown in a few days, and the weather looking forward offered a small window to complete the 59-mile passage before turning for the worse. Too shallow to continue south on the calm side of the island, we will complete this leg on the ocean side. Join us next time as we face strong winds and large swells on our way to Georgetown. And find out how this paper got plastered against the cabinet on our passage.